It's Saturday and we back. Beautiful. Dorsey. Last week we talked about trust. And I didn't get into it, but I did want to talk about how trust is circumstantial. And I know in my Zoom that I did on trust, when I talked about trust being circumstantial, a lot of people kind of got, quiet. They kind of got in a space like, okay, love, explain that. So for a lot of people, when it comes to things like trust, loyalty, respect, emotions take over and the logic usually leaves. So a lot of times people cannot just be honest when things are going on, honest with themselves. Because when I'm talking about honesty, I'm always talking about honesty with yourself first. People cannot be honest that someone can be very trustworthy in certain areas and they're not trustworthy in others. So to deem them non-trustworthy all the way around the board would be irrational. Y'all can call in and get in on the conversation. 888-247-8712. Again, we're talking about trust. And, I specifically want to talk about the idea of trust and it being circumstantial. In co-parenting situations, I talk to, people all the time just about the concept that as your partner, as somebody that we try the relationship out, I was untrustworthy. I was untrustworthy with the idea of monogamy. I was untrustworthy with the responsibility of being loyal to a commitment we agreed that we had or whatever bond we had. But when it comes down to being able to be there for the children, help raise them, not do anything that will compromise their health or well-being, I'm very trustworthy in that area. So based on not trusting me in one circumstance does not mean I can't be trusted in another. I know we got a caller on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, so I think we lost our first caller. And again, you can call in 888-247-8712 if you're watching on Facebook Live or Instagram Live. Again, that number is 888-247-8712. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes. What's your name, honey? Where you calling from?
Jada from Atlanta.
From Atlanta. So Jada, tell me, do you understand the concept of trust being circumstantial?
Can you go in a little bit more details?
Yeah, absolutely. So in my Zoom on trust, I explained to, everybody that was in the Zoom, and it was a very good Zoom. I explained that when we talk about trust being circumstantial, some people can be very trustworthy in certain circumstances, and then in others, they are not to be trusted at all. Does this make sense, or you want me to elaborate?
No, it makes sense.
Okay, so on that particular, on that particular subject of trust, what do you want to add to the conversation?
I just wanted to add the whole co-parenting thing.
I think we lost her. And again, I was just speaking on that with co-parenting. Sometimes your emotions can make you feel like, okay, because this person couldn't be loyal or trustworthy when it came to being my partner, somehow they don't deserve the chance or the opportunity, or I just should not give them any space of trust when it comes to parenting the children. And that is just not realistic to how trust is. Next caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, we losing callers left and right. Do we got a call on the line? Caller, what's your name and where you calling from? And again, if you're calling in, that number is 888-247-8712. We lost another call. Again, if y'all listening online, we're talking about trust. And I just want to know how well do you guys understand the concept that trust is circumstantial? And we are going to talk about loyalty because I did a Zoom last night on loyalty and it got deep. But right now we're speaking on trust. Another aspect of trust that I bring up all the time, and it kind of puts people in a uncomfortable space, is that trust is a choice. So when you're in relationships, when you're dealing with people, when you're in business situations, when you choose to involve yourself with people, you're choosing to trust, the environment, the person, the behavioral patterns of that person, whether you know them or not. It is a choice to be in that particular space. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Deja. I'm calling from Rochester, New York.
Deja, what's up, babe? So you was in the Zoom last night on loyalty, and I think you was in the one on trust. I don't know if you were in it or if you missed that one. But how well do you understand the concept of trust being circumstantial?
Oh, I understand it very well. Trust is kind of like a big thing on me, and just, me interacting with different people. So I had, I have 8 sisters. So each sister, I know, okay, this sister, I can trust you enough to tell you what I have business-wise. This sister, I can only trust you enough to be like, okay, I'm doing day-to-day stuff.
Right.
And it don't mean that there's nothing wrong with it, but it's, which person is going to run their mouth or which one's going to give you negative impact or, feedback. You're like, I don't want the feedback. I just venting on this. I don't want you to be trying to play me to go different. So it is circumstantial. It don't mean nothing's wrong with that person. You just know what limitations they have on that.
Right, absolutely. Now let me ask you this. When we talk about trust is circumstantial, have you ever asked yourself, or can you tell us, in what areas are you trustworthy, in what areas are you not? And I'm asking this, Deja, because I know you've been a part of my platform for a minute. I can expect a certain level of realness from you, whereas other people, most of the time they try to make it seem like, nope, I'm trustworthy all the way around the board. So for you yourself, if you would like to share, what areas do you know that you're trustworthy in? And then what areas would there be like a question mark?
So I'm trustworthy strictly like when it's like business or something motivational going on, but when it's like somebody's intimate business or something like that, I got diarrhea at the mouth.
Got you.
I'm not one in my family it's like, don't get to telling her like your intimate personal business, because next thing you know, your mom might know, this person might know, because she just got diarrhea at the mouth on that. Right.
And listen, I appreciate your honesty. It's a lot of people that they would not be that honest. And I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes we can, be trusting or trustworthy with someone else's venting information is what I would call it, right? But then sometimes stuff can be so juicy that you can't even control yourself. It gets to the point where you done heard a story so absurd or some stuff so crazy. It's like, oh, I can't wait to call so-and-so, or sometimes stuff can be such a learning experience that you want to tell it to other people and not realize like this is breaking the trust bond with the person that told me that. I appreciate your honesty. Anything else you want to add to the conversation, Deja?
No, only thing I like is what you have said in the trusting class on it, and it makes you reflect on yourself, like in that where we were saying it was, what was it? It's like, just because I'm adapting and changing doesn't mean these circumstances are going to change. My loyalty, everything's going to change. And my trust on a person's going to change, everybody change. So
Right. Absolutely. I love what you added to the conversation. I appreciate the support. You've been a long-time supporter of the Love Dorsey platform. So much love to you for that. I know we got another call on the line. Y'all can call in 888-247-8712. Deja was in the Zoom last night on loyalty, and we did get deep. We talked about some real stuff when it comes to loyalty. There is a thin line between loyalty and stupidity, and we're going to talk about it. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from? We got another call on the line. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
It's your boy JB. I'm calling from Chicago.
JB from Chicago. What's up? So what you want to add to the conversation, JB? Let me ask you this. Do you understand the concept of trust being circumstantial?
I somewhat understand it.
Okay, so when I say trust is circumstantial, what I mean is, whether it's family members, somebody you may be dating, your homeboys, some people can be heavily trusted in certain areas, in certain circumstances, and then in others, they are not to be trusted. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, so tell me what you want to add to the conversation. JB, you there or we lost you? We losing call after call after call. Again, we talking about trust, and I just want to get an idea. And I was eager to hear what JB had to add. I love when the men chime in, especially when it comes to trust. In the Zoom last night when we were talking about loyalty, and we brought up certain situations that they had to do with trust and loyalty, but we just talked about the difference between how men view situations and how women, specifically what Deja was just expressing, how she said, okay, with certain people telling me their intimate business, to a certain extent, I'm not to be trusted with that because I might go repeat it. So we were in the Zoom and I was explaining to the people in the Zoom how a lot of times men view that as very disloyal. You're in a relationship with a guy, y'all go through something and you call your sister, your auntie, your mama, your cousin, your friend, and it is seen oftentimes by men as like an extreme form of disloyalty, where you going and talking about me and my business and what you going through with me with an outsider. And for a lot of women, it's not as big of a deal. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, what's your name and where you calling from, honey?
Oh, my name is Adrian. I didn't know that it hung up on me before. But I'm calling from Chicago area, the suburbs of Chicago.
Chicago. Y'all deep in Chicago. I hope JB caught back. So Adrian, what you want to add to the conversation? Do you understand that trust is circumstantial?
Definitely, definitely. You got to be able to see how people move before you trust them with your money, your man, your mama, your kids, your business, your personal life, everything. I got friends that I use for certain areas. You know, one of them, my bestie, I can tell her all my intimate stuff. She smokes, so she don't forget.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
They go and they got diarrhea of the mouth. They don't even be knowing they telling stuff that I don't want them to tell.
Right.
You know,
Come on.
You gotta know who you move with. You gotta know the people and what you can trust them with. Some people, you can have them hold your money and they won't touch it.
Yep.
Some people, don't give them your money or you can't get them no money because you ain't gonna give it back.
Right. Adrian, I love that you understand this so fluently because it's so important. I see so many people, they get so overly emotional because they're expecting this perfect picture of trust from everybody they deal with. Like they expect for everybody to have like all the way around the board this trusting personality and these character traits, but it's just not realistic.
No.
I love it. So let me ask you, same thing I asked Deja, with yourself. What areas do you know I'm strong with? You can trust me with this, and in other areas, I don't know.
You can trust me with knowing how to, doing your stuff, your business, your information and all that stuff. But as far as actually physically doing stuff for you, don't trust me with that. You know what I'm saying? Hands-on stuff. But when it comes to administrative work and stuff, to come over and help old people clean up and do stuff like, oh no, I ain't gonna make you nothing.
Listen, I love that you know that about yourself. Because when I tell people it's a red flag when you meet people and you ask them questions like this and they make it seem like, no, you can trust me with everything. And it's like, no, because nobody's perfect. You around the board, there will be some things that I will, need to just use my common sense, or you may not come through with, or you may not uphold that high level of trust. Is there anything else, Adrian, you want to add to the conversation, just in regards to trust?
And trusting, first you got to trust your own self.
Come on.
You got to trust your own intuition. You got to trust the fact that your mind is not thinking in a trauma bond situation.
Come on.
In an emotional state. You got to come up out your emotions and look at what's really happening, the real deal.
Yep.
Because people can tell you anything. You got to trust your intuition. Trust comes from trusting yourself first.
Yep. Listen, you saying some real stuff, and I'm gonna tell you something. When you bring up the idea of emotions and then having an intuition, some people, they are overly emotional, and a lot of times anxiety or their mental health issues is making them believe that it's an intuition when it's not. This is just you worrying based on being around certain type of people. The idea is you got to get to know you, understand the areas like you just said. Where am I, overly emotional at? Where do I have a clear understanding at? So as I deal with people, as I pick people, I know, here's where I can put my ducks in this basket. Here's where I need to kind of hold back. Here's where I got to wait and see how this person is with money or around children before I let them over my house. I love what you added to the conversation, honey.
Thank you. You have a good one, and I love you. Keep doing what you're doing, baby.
I appreciate it, Adrian. Shout out to Chicago. Y'all can call in 888-247-8712. We're talking about trust being circumstantial. What do you understand about trust and someone being trustworthy? And then I'm going to ask y'all, before I get into loyalty, what do you know about rebuilding trust? Because everybody knows, in relationships, you will go through hard times and things that will pose a question mark to whether I should trust you. I'm going to tell y'all something else. And we talked about this last night in the Zoom on loyalty. I spoke to the group about understanding that a lot of times it's not what it is, it's what it looked like. Nowadays, you can get deemed untrustworthy based on how something looked. And you may not have even done what it looks like. But if it looks a certain way, it's like trial. It ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. How this look. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
This is T. Monique.
T. Monique, what's up, hon?
Hi, love. How are you?
I'm awesome. So listen, I'm excited to talk to you. Tell me, what do you understand about trust being circumstantial?
What I understand about trust being circumstantial is that, like what you just said, is that something cannot, it doesn't look like what it seems, but you can draw on that and be like, oh, wait a minute. Nah, this don't look right. And I'm going to use an example from my own personal experience. A guy that I was dealing with, was trying to be sweet, send me a little photo or whatever. Said he was thinking of me, but you know, iPhones be tripping you up. I'm looking at the picture and I'm like, you couldn't have been thinking about me like this morning because the date on this picture says last year. So you sending, you know, big pics out. So I was just like, nah, this don't work. So from that situation, I lost a little bit of trust based on that circumstance.
So I like what you just added, and keep in mind we live on national radio. So I want to ask you this, T. Monique, when you realize, like that moment when you realize, okay, you know, I've lost a little bit of trust in this area for this dude, or now I have a question mark on whether I should fully trust this situation to, you know, put my feelings or my emotions in it. Do you maturely communicate, and are you able to articulate what's going on with you, or do you just get an attitude?
What I did was I gave it a breather moment, and I didn't say anything about it. But he was mature enough to come to me and was like, help me understand what you're talking about.
So what you mean? Hold on, back up. What you mean a breather moment?
I gave, like, when I mentioned it and said something, I laid off of it for like a 24-hour period just to make sure my emotions were reset.
So, but let me ask you this. When you say you laid off of it, did you like get distant and stop talking to him?
No, I didn't get distant and stop talking to him. I just didn't talk about that situation.
Okay, okay.
Until we saw each other. And when we saw each other, we discussed it. And then I had a better understanding, and he had a better understanding. He said, I thought about it, and I was like, okay, I can see how she would think that. He said, but no, that's not, you know, I'm not doing nothing like that. And I was like, oh, okay.
So now let me ask you, fast forward to now. Do you still deal with that person? And if you do you fully trust them? Or does that circumstance still play like in the back of your mind?
I still deal with that person, and the circumstance, it doesn't play in the back of my mind, but it just keeps me aware of what to look for in the future. If anything should pop up, I can revert back to that and be like, all right, this is what's going to be the determining factor that I...
So you know that's not healthy, right?
Yes.
Because you essentially, and I love your honesty, essentially you're holding on to the past. The idea is as conflict or disagreements or situations come up that, you know, put a gray cloud over trust or break trust, you have to talk about it. And if the talk is healthy and you guys are able to express is welcoming of the open opinions and, you know, here is my perspective and my why, here is from your view, yours, you should be able to move forward without worrying about ever going back to that particular situation. Right. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. And I thought about that afterwards.
Now, when you see me do another Zoom on rebuilding relationships, rebuilding trust in relationships to move forward, you know you got to get in it.
Oh, you know I am, because I already told you your book is filled up with notes.
Yes.
And on top of the notebook, of me being in the other room, just filled up with notes. So yes, I would definitely be on that Zoom.
I love it. I appreciate you calling in. I love what you added to the conversation. We are talking about trust. Trust being circumstantial. I know we got another call on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Columbia.
Columbia? You said, wait, hold on. Let's back up. You calling from where?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Columbia, South Carolina. Okay, so tell me what you know about trust being circumstantial.
I know a lot of things, circumstantial, like trust, loyalty, a lot of things you discuss. I feel like circumstantial trust is kind of like not really trust. Like if you have to trust somebody with a name, do you really trust them? So let me
ask you this, right? Me and you dating. And as you get to know me, you realize, okay, I can trust her when it comes to situations with money. Like, you know, she don't play when it comes to organizing, bill paying. She says she gonna do something or we putting in on something, she good. But now there are other areas where there's a question mark on trusting her. Like some people, they're unorganized with their time. So when they say they're gonna show up, like in that particular area, they're not necessarily trustworthy. So although I'm not a bad person and I'm not non-trustworthy all the way around the board, the trust is circumstantial, meaning certain circumstances I can be trusted, and in others you're gonna have to really have your own back. Does this make sense?
I understand. Yeah, I understand that.
So, in just speaking on relationships, with your dealings with women, have you found that women understand this, and this is something that y'all able to talk about, or is it from? And I'm asking from your perspective as a man, is it when you bring up things that look non-trustworthy, the female is not receiving the communication?
I dealt with many different people. Will understand, and some I've dealt with people who don't understand. Like, what I mean by that is, like, you could express something that could be an insecurity to you, or something that could damage, like, affect how you feel, and it's, like, not really, like, asking them not to do this thing wouldn't be non-beneficial to them.
Got you. So do you, because I heard you say you dealt with many people, male or female, tell me as far as friendships or even relationships, who is better receptive from your perspective, or do you feel like it just depends on the person, not the gender?
I feel like it's dependent on the person who they're with. Like, because I do, like, my girl, she always expresses me, like, you got a lot of female friends. But I have found over time, like, females are generally more trustworthy than me. Like, I know, like, I see females deal with females, and they'll be chatting and stuff, but I find the different dynamic with my friends. And some of my guy friends, like most of my guy friends are like from my childhood.
Got you.
A lot of the things that I couldn't trust them with as a child, I still can't trust them with.
So let me ask you this. I love what you add into the conversation, and let me ask you this, because I talked about a few minutes before you called how nowadays it ain't really whether you did something or not, it's what it looks like to the person. So I heard you mention you got a lot of female friends, right? Most of the time for females, that's a red flag to us. Like, I'm trying to date you and I realize, dang, he got like 5, 6, 7 different homegirls that he hanging out with, going around, and then don't let them be pretty. Like, it don't even got nothing to do with me being insecure, but just knowing, okay, I'm pretty, they pretty, like they could be his type. How would I know that you're trustworthy in these areas, like as far as mingling with these women?
Okay, well, the way that I believe that my girl trusts me with my female friends, because I haven't ever shown her a tendency to be overly forward, even when I was pursuing her. I was pursuing her more so in a respectful aspect. So, and when I deal with women in general, like I have a soft spot for women, kind of like I have nieces. I don't have no children of my own, so I deal with women from a place of like compassion, and I kind of deal with men from a place of like more so like a drill sergeant. Like I don't have a lot of tolerance for that.
But listen, what you just described, okay, so I'm with you. But what you just described, if I'm your lady, right, and I'm trying to, we trying to build, and I'm trying to get to know you. When you said you got like a weak spot or a soft spot or compassion for women, like, what if these girls need something from you, these female friends that, I don't feel like you should be giving them, but you like you say, you may not even be trying to mess with them like that, but you have a certain, like, how do you balance that is what I'm asking.
Honestly, I will start with my own, like, and I'll find a way to communicate that to my friends, and all my friends will understand. Like, they will understand because they deal with people and they understand how, like, trust and insecurity and things like that.
So have you ever had, so let me ask this first. It sounds like your female friends are mature females.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now have they ever been in relationships where their guy has questioned their friendship with you?
I was just talking about this last week, definitely. Like, and it's funny because my best friend, like, she lives on the state. She dated 2 guys since she moved out of state, and I've met both of them. Like, they came back and I met them. And when they broken up, she expressed to me, like, she said, yeah, both times, both of those dudes always had questions about you, and they never could trust you. Even though they met you and they played cool with you and all that, they were still, like, express insecurity about me having a guy that's thing.
And do you see how, without you doing, because I'm assuming you didn't do anything inappropriate, without you doing anything appropriate, it could just be assumed that, you on some other stuff. Like, as a guy, it's like, man, this man calling himself my lady best friend. Like, you get where I'm going with it.
I do get where you're going with that. I also think it's a certain aspect of how she might carry herself. She's not like from church with. But I would say one of the guys she dated, he's like real into like, modesty, like modest women. So I think that like they probably wanted to do a fit, and that's where that started coming from. Because it was like, I mean, I talked to her in confidence about things, just other insecurities that she expressed to me that he had, and he would like not handle it the best. So I do think like maybe he just didn't pick the right partner.
Right.
She was always like that when he met her.
Gotcha. I love what you're saying. I'm gonna tell you something, because I know you know specifically, like you said, there were other insecurities that she confided. Some men, it's just their ego. They ain't even insecure. It's just I'm territorial about my woman, and this whole concept of a guy, you know, being her friend, her best friend, is just, it don't mix for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what it was for him, because like just talking to her, like she wouldn't put me in all that business, but she just expressed me some things that she never got over, and just hearing her thoughts, it was definitely, I just told her, like, she had a fragile ego, like, she thought, she was trying to tell me his masculinity was, she was trying to explain it, and I was telling her, like, it's fragile, like, people who put on this macho man, outer man, it's like, it's usually something about that, that's
right, and you know, I study psych, and so you're definitely, you know, on to something when you speak on that. It's definitely solid truth to that. I want to know, because now I'm curious as to how many men would or wouldn't be okay with the concept of their spouse having a opposite sex best friend, and then the idea of confiding in them. Because I could just see, and, you know, I'm not saying anything's wrong with your relationship, but I talk to a lot of people and I see the immaturity as far as emotions, because we just haven't gotten there as a people yet. But I can see a lot of people feeling like the idea of your female best friend discussing the insecurities or the fragile state of her man's ego with you is in some way disloyal or untrustworthy. And again, it goes back to, it's never whether you actually doing something wrong. It's always the perception and what it looks like. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
I love what you added to the conversation. Is there anything else that you want to share? Because you got good insight.
Not much. I really like the music from like our people, like black people specifically.
Yes, go for it.
We can benefit from loving each other more and giving each other a chance. Like, especially black men, it's not even a trans topic yet. I don't want to say this on a new platform. For years, I was walking around and just looking at everybody, man, just like, it's a mug or it's
right.
around on that face. Like, you don't have to be so in office for it. Like, you can really appreciate it, uplift each other a lot more than we do.
Right.
And a lot of the comments that we complain about are like, they're not self-inflicted, but we do carry them in.
Right. But I'm going to tell you something. It starts with making these type of conversations the norm. Having discussions like what me and you having right now, and making it where no one's getting upset. There's no jabs at one another. We are having a healthy debate or a healthy dialogue. Like, this is where it starts from, because this is where people can genuinely relate. And through differences of opinions, they can still see the good in one another. So I definitely appreciate what you added to the conversation. We are talking about trust. We're talking about trust. We're talking about trust being circumstantial. We're going to get into loyalty. I want to know from y'all, and now I'm curious from the men, how many men comment on Instagram Live or Facebook Live? How many guys would be okay with their lady having a male best friend? And then if the answer is yes, how many of you guys will be okay with her having discussions, the same kind that she would have with her homegirls, about what y'all may be going through? I know we got another call on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, my name is Jamie, and I'm listening in Tampa.
Jamie from Tampa. You out here in the beautiful Tampa, Florida. I love it, Jamie. So tell me, what do you understand the concept of trust being circumstantial?
I actually do, because I can think of 15 or 20 different cases for that. I think the biggest one has to do with money. One thing I've learned in my young, blind, 20-something-year-old life.
I love it.
In most cases, never give a friend money, because if they need more money, they always know where to find you.
I can take that.
They always know where.
So, but let me, okay, so Jamie, stop right there. Let me ask you something just on that point, because I like what you added. And this is where my Zoom went last night when I was talking about loyalty, right? I'm your friend. I'm struggling. I know that you have money, right? And I need to borrow some, or heck, I need some and I can't pay it back. Are you not loyal to our friendship if you don't and you got it? Or, because like you said, there's that aspect of, I don't even want us to go down this lane where you're coming to me for money and we end up ruining our friendship. What do you do? And remember, it's never what it really is. It's what it looks like. I need to borrow $100. Don't know if I could pay it back. I'm going to say borrow. I might could pay it back, might not. And we 20.
Well, if you need to, okay, so the way I look at it is like this. If you're struggling financially and you really, like, let's say your cell phone bill is $100, and you really, I mean, and let's face it, I don't think anybody should do without a cell phone, especially now.
Right.
Then I would gladly offer that to you, because and I would expect anything in return, because I know maybe you lost your job, maybe you've fallen on hard times. So if I give you $400 and you can't pay it back, I know the reason. You lost your job. Now, I have had situations where people get paid a certain amount every month, and they need to borrow money, and then about a week later, they need to borrow some more. I've been in those situations many a time.
And have you, since you're saying, I'm going to cut you off on purpose, since you're saying that you've been in those situations, have you ever been deemed like disloyal or not for the person because you wouldn't give them the money? Like, you knowing it's them really messing up their money. Because this is what people do. That's why I'm asking. Like, there are a lot of people, when we talk about their definition of loyalty, they'll basically say, Jamie not my real friend. Girl, he was never for me. Because I needed $500 and I don't care whether I was messing up my money or not. Like, if he had it, he should give it to me.
How much time I got? I've been through it. They'll guilt trip you. I was in a situation a few years ago, a young lady that I've been dating. I've known her since we were in elementary school, so I knew a pretty good bit about her. So one day she called me. I was coming home from work, and she called me. She said, "Hey, baby, can I borrow X amount of money?" And I'm like, "What happened to the $30 I gave you last week?" "Well, I spent that." I'm like, "Okay, so what do you need more for?"
Right.
And when I told her I couldn't do it, she, "But you're not really my friend. You don't really care about me. You don't really care about me." I'm like, "I do, but I can't keep giving you money and there's nothing left and not have anything for myself."
Now, Jamie, women nowadays, you would get caught broke. Like, you can have the money all, but you're going to be a broke dude if you don't get that girl some money. You know, that's the way people kind of operate nowadays.
I was already broke when I was giving it to her. So because if I was giving her money for something that she needed for her job, her favorite thing to do, I remember she called me. I was coming home from Bible study at my church, and she said, "I'm coming home from work, but I don't have any money for the bus. Can you give me some money for the bus?" And I said, "Okay, how much you need?" She said, "I need $20." I said, "I can't do that because I gave you money last week, you know." And she said, "Okay, then I'll just walk home." And then what happens is sometimes they'll just guilt trip you.
But listen, I was just about to say, people will weaponize trust and loyalty. It will be a weapon. Like, the minute you don't come through for me, like you said, I'm going to guilt trip you into making you feel like you're lesser than or you don't care about me.
Oh my God, they will, let me tell you something, they will guilt trip you to the other. They'll be calling you day, night, front, backwards, forwards, and sideways. They'll say, "Oh, please," or they'll beg, "Please, please, please." And after a while, I'm like, fine, I'll give you money. When I shut you up, that's usually what I have to do.
Right.
But the last time me and this young lady talked, I was on my way home from work, and she needed to borrow $50 to get her cell phone bill paid.
Okay.
Now, again, I understand we all use our phones, but she said, "But I just given her money for an Uber. I wasn't giving her any more." And she said to me, "I need to borrow $50 because for her phone bill." I said, "I'm not going to give you $50 because in that case, if you know that bill you have to pay every month, then you need to be more responsible. You need to budget more. You need to know how much you have. And if you flat out cannot pay your cell phone bill, and you know it's got to be paid every single month, then maybe you shouldn't have it. Maybe learning to live without it for a while will teach you that. It will teach you, okay, you know what, I got to budget more. And when I said that, man, she had a fit.
So Jamie, have you developed some sort of standards as far as like, okay, if I meet a woman and we're dating and I like her and she starts to, you know, ask for money 1 or 2 times, okay, I'm gonna pull away? Or what is your standard like now?
Well, with the girlfriend that I have now, who's also blind just like me, my standards are, okay, if you need money for things, there's only 2 situations where I will give you money. If you reach out some kind of way, maybe with a friend's phone, and you say, hey, my cell phone just went out, I need some money to take an Uber to the phone store to get my phone looked at. I'm like, okay, you know what? Being blind myself, I know it's not safe to be without a cell phone. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Or if it's 10 o'clock at night and you're just coming home from work, but you don't have a ride home, and you know, I don't want to leave a female out there in the middle of the road, because anything can happen. You know that. Anything can happen. And so, you know, if you flat out cannot get anybody else to come and pick you up, I will send an Uber your way and they'll come and get you, and then you just reimburse me when you can. If you can't reimburse me, that's perfectly okay. I understand, you know, but I'll do that.
Men, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Men have it hard in this particular category because there is an expectation of y'all, you know, being providers. And the idea is, if a woman that you're interested in or you're dating needs something financially and you don't provide it, it's almost like automatically with people nowadays that your loyalty is questioned, or rather they should trust, you know, being in a relationship with you. Like there's a question mark automatically. I love what you added to the conversation. I feel like it's so real. And these are the type of talks that we need to have. Jamie, I appreciate you calling in because I love what you added to the conversation. 888-247-8712. Y'all can chime in. I want to hear from some dudes. I want to know, is it cool for your girlfriend to have male friends? Does this affect like your trust with her? I mean, I want to know from some of the ladies, when it comes down to you needing some sort of financial support, if the guy can't give it to you, do you automatically like view him a certain way now? Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey there, love. This is Aya from Los Angeles.
Aya, what's up, hon? So you were in the Zoom last night on loyalty, and I know that you were in the Zoom on trust. So I know that you understand trust is circumstantial. What do you think about the concept of being in a relationship and you have male friends as best friends or multiple friends? Do you think your guy will be cool with that? Is that something you're cool with?
That's a great question. First of all, these Zooms are so fire. They're like fine wine. They're getting better and better. I really have to let my people know out here, get in these Zooms. To answer your question, me personally, I'm not okay with that.
No.
I think that my lifetime partner, not my boyfriend, girlfriend, but my lifetime partner, I want to be your best friend. I want me to be your best friend.
So can your man have female friends? Like they don't, okay, we could take out the term best friend, but let's say your guy has 4 or 5 women that these are his friends. Like he don't run in necessarily a group of all males as the people he socializes with outside of work and outside of time with you. Is that something that will put like a gray cloud over y'all trust, or no?
He wouldn't be my man. That's not for me.
Why? You got to tell me why.
Because I've been married before, and you know, when you go into the business of life, you know, when you're mature, going to the business of life, you have businesses, you have kids, family, extended family. You only have so much of a bandwidth. I mean, honestly, like you have a certain bandwidth. So either I'm with you because I'm making money with you, I'm with you because we family, I'm with you because, you know, we're building something.
Right.
And I mean, what you're building with this woman that you're talking to on the phone is a friend. I don't understand.
So I just straight up, nope, no female friends like that, none of that close stuff with other women. What you doing with them? I get it. So for a lot of y'all that are trying to build like healthy resources with the people around you, because I talk about this all the time as adults, especially in the urban community, we don't speak enough on how valuable it is to have resources, having an accountability partner, somebody to motivate you, a life coach, somebody outside of the people that you were raised with, somebody outside of the people that you call a best friend. Because usually when people are best friends, unless y'all like really driving yourselves every day to chase knowledge, you don't know no more than they know. And they don't know too much more than you as far as what's needed to really level up and excel. So you have a business that can help support male or female people that are trying to really hold themselves accountable and do better. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Let them know how to tap in, how to book your services.
Well, let me tell you, like, where you need to be at in your life to book my services.
Oh, so you got, hold on, you got stipulations on your customers.
I got stipulations.
I love it.
No, real talk. I mean, life coaching is a highly personalized investment. So first and foremost, it's an investment in your future. It's an investment in your family legacy. It's an investment in multi-generational wealth, because it's going to take you and your family into the next level, period, full stop.
Right.
So the reality is, it's not for someone that doesn't have their basics. If you don't have your basics, it's not for you. You got to get your basics up and running. It's not for someone who is not serious about doing the work. If you're not serious about doing the work, you just want to talk about your trauma, you need to look into therapy. It's for people who are ready to invest in themselves. They want to bet on themselves, and they want to do the work to get their life where they say they want to go to when they look in the mirror. When they look in the mirror, you know, people get their body done. The doctor looks at them, they look at them, and I want my body to look like this.
Right.
And I want this.
Right.
And they ready to do the work. They go to the gym, they eat right, they go to that surgery, and they recover, and they do the work.
Right.
Saying that. So it's the same situation. You got to be able to do the work. You have to have your basics together, and you have to have that fire inside of you. It's like Michael Jordan. All these athletes have coaches. All of these executives have coaches. All of these people
Come on,
who do something with their life, they have coaches. Some of these people have 5, 6 coaches: a financial coach, a nutritional coach, an emotional coach, a relationship coach. So how high you want to go, how far you want to go, is you need to be coached to get there. So for me, on Icon Life Coaching, you can tap in at www.iconlifecoaching.com. Tap in, everyone, www.iconlifecoaching.com. Sign up for your first consultation. Get on my mailing list. I have books. The point of the matter is, I'm here to help you. Follow us on IG at Icon Life Coaching. Follow us.
I highly recommend. I'm telling y'all, like, I think Aya has been in every Zoom I've ever done. Like, since I think you have. I'll check with Desiree to be sure, but I think Aya has been in pretty much every Zoom I've ever done. And, you know, she really does operate from a space of forward progress. I watched her put in so much work with herself, and it's so relevant. It's so important. The stuff she's saying is 100% correct. Like, if you want to win, you need to build a team. And in order to build a team, you need people around you that can hold you accountable, but also bring new information and new resources to the table so that you are constantly growing. Again, tell them the Instagram and the website, Aya.
Yes, and before I do, I really want to say Love is my coach. You know, Love is my coach. She's a coach to so many of us. She's a coach to the culture. She's an icon. And I just really want you to know that that's why you tap in. Tap in beyond the lies.
Right.
Tap in. You know, get in and get yourself the information, the knowledge, get into the rooms that you need to get into. You know, life coaching is great because it's going to be one-on-one. You know, the Zooms are group settings, so life coaching will be one-on-one. So I want y'all to tap into my website, www.iconlifecoaching.com, and please follow me on Instagram at Icon Life Coaching. Thank you so much. Thank you, love.
I appreciate it. I always love when you tap in. I know we got another call on the line. The phone number to call in is 888-247-8712. We're talking about trust and trust being circumstantial. You know, I wanted to tap in because I did want to hear, because I know it gets touchy, the difference between how men view things and how women view things. When I was speaking earlier to the gentleman and we were talking about just the concept of a female having male best friends, Aya just said it's a no-go for her man. None of this, a woman is your, best friend, or you have women homegirls or homeboys. I actually have my fiance in the studio with me, and I'm asking him to tap in. Pastor, you gonna come tap in? I want to know from you, like, why do a good majority of dudes have an issue with their lady having male friends? Is it just the concept of cheating? Is it just the idea that, I need to be in control? Do we have a call on the line? Okay, because I want to tap my caller in as well. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Did we lose them, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from? Erica from Tampa. So, Erica, let me ask you before I ask my fiance or let him respond. Can your boyfriend, husband, partner, significant other, can they have females as friends? They don't even have to be best friends, but can they mingle with women as their, you know, a part of their social circle?
Prior to me growing and developing and working on myself, moving to Florida in 2016, hell no. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna curse. No, because I was not emotionally mature enough.
Come on.
Even though I was a woman, I was not emotionally mature enough. Now, see, I can't have male friends to where they can come to my home if my husband is not home, which I would never do that. But you got to know the differences of boundaries and how things are supposed to move.
Right.
When you're a married person, when you're supposed to have friends, there's no intimidation with me, but he's my best friend. I'm his best friend. Like, we were just out earlier today looking for 6 jet skis, some boats, some screenshots to add to. I created his company. So this is what I do every week. This is my business, creating companies, right? So he doesn't like me to be around men if he's not on the set because he knows I'm a money magnet, right?
Right.
And men, others see a woman that's a hustler, and she's cute, and she knows what she's talking about.
Come on.
And she understands business, and she has a diversified portfolio. So when you teaming up with people like you and I and taking classes, and we're doing the work, and
right,
we are secure in who we are, we don't care about our men, honestly. Long as the chick ain't moving slimy and grimy and she understands her boundaries, we cool with it. No, you're not welcome at my house until I develop a certain level of understanding that you have a level of respect for our relationship and our marriage.
Right.
But it ain't gonna happen overnight because I know how chicks are. And if she's in a survival season, she'll do what she gotta do because she knows he's attached.
Come on. So I love what you just said. So now, babe, let me ask you why, and I'm not speaking on us because, you know, I'm in a completely different space. It would be unfair to just talk about the space where we're at, but just men in general. Why? You know what? She sounds like a very mature woman, but like she said, her man don't want her nowhere around no dudes if he ain't there.
You know, it's all different. You know, every relationship got different dynamics. You know what I'm saying? Now you got some relationships where it don't really involve a lot of people, like especially like both of their, you know, businesses. Like they in business with other people that involve men. Like a woman, that's her way to grow. She gonna have to, you know, be involved with other men, and you know.
She say the man not having. Do you say he not having it? I think we lost on the line.
Listen, he may feel like that because it's uncomfortable, but it still may be the best thing for the growth of the relationship and what she got going on.
Right? Did you hear what she said though? She's pretty. She said he's not having it. She's pretty. She a hustler. Yeah. She like Aya. She on the platforms getting new information. Like she's growing. And she a money magnet. Like she getting money. So but dudes attracted to that nowadays. Boss females getting money, like.
Yeah. You know, most. I mean, look, most of the men they want a boss female. It be all cool till you have to really deal with one for real on a regular day basis.
What you mean?
When you first meet a person, you know what I'm saying? It be all cute and glamorous. Then I got me a boss female, this and that. But once your emotions start getting involved and you start getting feelings for it, everything changes. Like how you used to be comfortable with things and stuff like that, you no longer gonna be comfortable with it. And that just, that's how it go. Because, your emotions involved now.
So now let me ask you this, because she's saying she good with him being around females. She reached a mature space. She managing her emotions better. In your opinion, is there this concept that this is one of those scenarios that men can do it, but women can't? Because, when we talk about the idea of, even cheating, we get into this area of like certain stuff that men can kind of get away with in that realm, but women can't. Is this one of those things?
What's his reason? Like, does it make sense, or he's just in his feelings? He don't want her to be around.
What did you say his reasons was? Like sense. He don't want you around just random men, or just what's the dynamic of it?
If he's been introduced and he feels comfortable from start to finish. Like I had a client in Kentucky that got $3 million. We had to fly to Kentucky because I'm flying to Kentucky to get the money.
Right.
I'm opening his trucking company. We own our own trucking company, right? But he doesn't want me to see this client if he's not on the set because he knows that men are attracted to me. We've been dealing with this. We've been dealing with 6 years almost.
Well, right there. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, he just don't trust. He don't trust you. Listen. This is what it is. Listen, he love you dearly. You know, he love you with all his heart. But when it comes on the other man being in the same facility, you feel me, around you and your energy and your space, he don't trust you.
But hold on. Now let me say this in her defense. Does he not trust her? Or is it the men?
He don't trust
them. But hold on. Let me ask you though. Is it really that he could possibly not trust her? Because if she did nothing to break trust, is it that he just doesn't trust her? Or does he know what men will do with women like her?
He don't trust
men.
He don't trust the men, and he know what he'll do if that was him.
This is what I'm saying.
Because if that was him, he'll take his shot. So that what most men do, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I know how men, I know how we are because I'm a man.
Right.
So he just don't trust the man intuition around his woman.
So have y'all had that conversation? Like, have you had a conversation with him, like, just about where his perspective comes from?
I understand all of that, but let me make it real clear. He didn't always dealt with females that were not loyal.
Come on.
Because they didn't understand. I took this dude from not having no money to
Come
put
on.
him on the map. I done took him around the world, things that he couldn't even.
Oh yeah,
pronounce.
he ain't finna let her get rough nobody. He ain't finna.
He don't even want
She done built him up.
Yeah.
She ain't finna get.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you like him. He don't want
dudes, rich dudes. He ain't finna let her get round.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what you did. You created a monster. That's exactly what you did. You created him. You know, it was cute. You hugging, kissing, everything good at first beginning relationship. But I'm telling you, as things go on, when men emotion, they feelings get involved, the dynamic change. If he ain't got no self-discipline, I'm telling you, it's gonna get real nasty.
Let me tell you, I didn't have to go through hell with this dude, and I'm not a cheater. Like, I didn't have to take the guest room and not speak to dude for a whole week because I have boundaries. There are certain things you can't do to me. If you got those issues, you need to go work on those issues. Because until you're ready to communicate, everybody in my family told you she focused on that much money. She's not a cheater. So if you couldn't take it, you trusted those members in my family when they told you that, I'm not explaining beyond that. Once I told it to you once, you ain't never seen me move smiley.
I love
6 years, always where I'm supposed to be. No, I ain't having it. I'm not addressing it. You need to deal with that.
This is a perfect. First of all, thank you for calling in because I love what you added to the conversation, and it goes right with trust because what she's describing is the idea that after building with him and him knowing to a certain extent when I first got with her, she was dating down. Now there are these trust issues based on the type of women I used to deal with that weren't on your level, and then there's this question mark of whether I'm actually living up to, the aspect of what you've given me. Am I really fulfilling the shoes based on what we're building and creating together? There's a question mark within his own self, and that creates a trust issue with you to where, like you said, I'm having to get questioned or having to explain myself or go through certain situations where I'm not even on what this person questioning or asking me about, but it came along with their past traumas not being unresolved. I love what you added because past traumas definitely play a role in whether you can move forward and trust from a healthy space. We're going to pick this same conversation up next Saturday. Make sure y'all tune in. We'll be talking about trust and loyalty. I love what everybody added that called in because it really added some different dynamics to just talking about the concept of trust. Same time, same space. And if you want to get in a Zoom, text 678-965-0698. Tap into the platform. It's love_Dorsey on Instagram, love Dorsey on Facebook. We out.